Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Carriers. I'm Tim Falanga, Senior Vice President of Sales with Amwins Connect here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Today we have guests from UnitedHealthcare, Sarah and Michael. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today and a little bit of your story.
Tim, thank you so much for having us. We're really honored to be here. My name is Sarah Mayhew. I'm the Director of Sales and Account Management for our small business sales team. Specifically, my team that I manage sells into the Mid-Atlantic. I started working at UnitedHealthcare in 2003. I've worked there for 18 years. Which doesn't add up. I left for a little bit. Yes, I started in Georgia as a strategic account executive for our key account space, then moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where I was an account executive. Then I moved to New Orleans, Louisiana, which was my hometown, and was an account executive, and then became the director of sales for the small business team in the Gulf states, and then had some other moves and eventually became the sales director of the small business team that, again, sells in the Mid-Atlantic. So happy to be here. Thank you.
All right. Welcome. Happy to have your partnership. How about you, Michael?
Michael Rachesky. I'm the Vice President of Small Business Sales Strategy for the Mid-Atlantic. Started in 2017 with the company as an account executive. Moved into General Agent Distribution Manager role. Did that for a couple of years and then moved up in 2021 to Columbia, Maryland with my family to take this role.
All right. With your family? You're a dad?
Yes. So funny story. When I learned about this role, my wife was pregnant, about to give birth. We had a contract on a new house in Tampa, and my wife just got accepted to a development program which would have given her her own school in Hillsborough County as a principal within like 2 to 3 years. So I got a call from the recruiter saying, hey, they want you to interview. And when I interviewed, I was like, Nicole, my wife, I was like, Nicole, I really want this job. Are you okay with moving? She said, yeah. All right, cool. You know, we've always been really supportive of each other's careers. You know, after giving birth, canceling a contract on a house, and then giving up her career ambitions so that I could realize mine was really special moment in our marriage, yeah.
Dedication to your family, your dedication to your career, it's important stuff. And you've got a couple of children, I understand.
Yes, I have a 19-year-old who lives in Oklahoma, and then I have 2 girls that are, one's almost 9 and one's 7. We're all in New Orleans, Louisiana. I actually met my husband from Charleston, South Carolina, and that's when I worked for UnitedHealthcare, that's when I met him. He is a chef by training, but currently on sabbatical, but he is actually a combat disabled vet. So I'm very proud of his service.
Oh, and thank him for his service. That's super special. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. So Amwins Connect and UnitedHealthcare, a national relationship coast to coast, but with a local market presence. Talk a little bit about here in the Mid-Atlantic, you know, UnitedHealthcare and Amwins Connect.
Yeah, so the relationship's been around for a few years. Amwins has grown into the Mid-Atlantic region with the recent acquisitions of GBS and MT Donahoe.
That's right, yep.
And it's been fun to watch it develop. It's been extremely collaborative, supportive, and Amwins has become a very important distribution partner for UnitedHealthcare as a full-service general agent and TPA for groups with 2 to 99 eligible employees.
So Michael, your local presence, you're in market all the time. You're working with our sales reps in the field, meeting brokers, doing days out there, or collaborating with our teams to set up things, you know, in the field locally with brokers. And Sarah, your team is more of an inside team. Is that right? And how does that work together with you guys and Amwins in the field here on a daily basis?
We've got my team, we've got a couple in Minnesota. They're actually now with, you know, post the COVID world, we actually have people sort of spread out a little bit more throughout the United States, mainly in both the central and eastern region. And same kind of concept where instead of just going out to agents, they are still collecting proposals, renewing groups, consulting. We do a lot on teams. Honestly, with a high volume of small business that we have, it actually sitting behind a desk and being able to manage that book of business from a remote site has actually helped our production and been able to let us have a lot more flexibility in who we can hire and the quality of people we can hire. So it's been a transition that has happened over the last 2 years, and we actually took a model that we had our inside sales team and just sort of expanded it and created across all 2 to 50. So all of 2 to 50 at UnitedHealthcare, with the exception of 1 and 2 markets, is sold through the small business sales team.
It's pretty unique that you do that, because here at Amwins Connect, our field representatives are regional sales directors or regional sales managers. They're in the field, right? How many appointments can a field rep make over the course of a day? 4? maybe. And an inside salesperson at Amwins, we have RSAs, regional sales associates, and those RSAs can bang out hundreds of calls. And I like that approach. I think it's common in the business now, and we're sort of parallel in that way. And I think that's a great place for us to collaborate, right? How do our field folks work together, and how do our inside sales folks work together to help drive new business sales and the UHC value prop? Speaking of value props, talk to me a little bit about innovation. There's a lot that goes into being a health plan. It's not just selling group insurance plans to employers, but there's so much more that goes on in the background. All that innovation that UHC drives every day. Can you talk to that a little bit about it?
At UnitedHealthcare, our mission is to helping people live healthier lives, and part of that we do believe is innovation, not even from a technology standpoint, but also from a plan design standpoint. In 2023, we rolled out nationally a Vital Med program, which certain life-saving medications we will give to the members at $0. We actually have
Fantastic.
A program called Care Cash, where on, again, certain plan designs, the members can access in between $200 or $500 for a family to help pay for, again, certain PC, going to primary care, designated physicians for specialists, and then urgent care as well. We also have other programs that really help with mental health and merging of 2 of our mental health providers, and where people can access mental health benefits at a lower copay. We have certain plan designs where we have a 0 sick kid copay. All of our level funded plans have 0 sick kid copay, and then some of our fully insured. And what that is, again, if someone needs to go to the doctor, especially when you have young children where you're going to the doctor all the time, they actually can go access those benefits at $0 when they go see their pediatrician. And that's some of the things they're really trying to not just take, again, from the technology standpoint, but really give people benefits that they can use on a daily basis to help them live healthier lives.
Do you find that your customer base is making use of these innovations since you've rolled them out? Is it, what's the rate of acceptance or utilization of those types of benefits? Are you seeing changing behaviors?
It's still early, but we are seeing indicators that people are accessing these medications and services, which will, of course, prevent them from winding up in a worse situation in the future. Right. So by removing the financial obstacles that sit in their way, they're able to improve their overall health now.
Ultimately saving your patient, your employee, or your dependent money, and saving the health plan money. So
it saves the system money. It's, again, just everything we can do to help drive down costs overall, because at the end of the day, if the member wins and we win, then the overall system wins.
That's right. You mentioned a moment ago level funding, and when you were talking about innovation. How does level funding look to you here in the Mid-Atlantic?
I think it's a great opportunity for employer groups in the Mid-Atlantic. It allows them to get medically underwritten rates, claims utilization reporting, where there's typically no claims utilization reporting available. It allows them greater optionality and richer benefit designs.
Right. It's amazing, under Affordable Care Act plans, for years, carrier partners have been out in the marketplace talking about wellness, and brokers that I know never really grabbed onto that in the fully insured space, because there's no reward to the employer for that. But there really is in the level funded space. If you are insuring your own claims as an employer or insuring your own employees, the fact that you put in a wellness program to help them, live a healthier life, it's going to help your productivity, and it's going to help to drive down your costs. I mean, ultimately, I think that's what we're looking to do.
And I think anytime you can bring transparency into any situation, that obviously is usually a positive. And I would say the level funded programs that, of course, that are all offering with our monthly reporting is a great way to offer transparency, and people can really understand where their healthcare dollars are being spent and how to spend them in a more efficient manner. One of the things about selling level funded from a remote team is really understanding, being able to articulate to the agent the process. Because obviously it's very different with ACR, or average community rating. You just kind of get a proposal, and it may change a little bit based on the census if you've got composite rating, but otherwise it's age banded rates. Right. But of course on level funded, you have to medically underwrite. So the process is a little bit different. It's slightly more involved, but it really does show agents that and the clients how they're running and what their risk is as a group, and of course, what is going to be their best option. Level funding is a great option for majority of employers, but not all of them. So we always want to make sure that people both get a fully insured option and a level funded option. One of the things to always remember about level funding at UnitedHealthcare is what we did is we married the financial stability of a fully insured product with the flexibility of an ICO or self-funded product. And that's the reason why we call it level funding, because we really were able to take the best of both worlds, marry it together, and give the best offering to the client and the broker.
When you have the right case in a level funded plan, the claims fund is owned by the employer rather than, UnitedHealthcare or any carrier for that matter. Can you talk a little bit about, the claim fund in a level funded product and what are the advantages or disadvantages depending on how your case is running with respect to level funded?
The great part about our level funded product is it takes an extremely complex self-funded model and brings the simplicity of fully insured, right? We do all the shopping for the employer. We put together guardrails to ensure that the employer's money is not at risk outside of the premium they're paying. If you have like a catastrophic claim, for example, we have different individual stop losses that will prevent the claim running through the entire claims fund, or aggregate stop loss, which protects the employer from a lot of maybe smaller to mid-sized claims. So at the end of the day, the employer is never responsible for any more than they're paying us. If there's a year where they're not running well, or multiple years and we just can't get them running well because of either attrition in the group or some unknown risk, then we can always flip them back over to fully insured.
There you go. So you've got that protective safety net.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about a level funded case that's running great?
Yeah, that's one of the probably biggest advantages of being level funded. Not only are you getting the pricing advantage, so from a rates perspective, when it comes to level funding, because you're getting advantage rates over average community rating, but if you run well, UnitedHealthcare actually does a 2/3 surplus, which is actually probably one of the better surplus shares in the Mid-Atlantic. And so we actually give the employer their money back that they actually earned. They do have to renew, but we actually share the money with them because we're trying to encourage positive behaviors.
So that money goes back to the employer in the form of a check.
Correct.
There you go. I would say that's probably a pretty nice advantage. Mm-hmm. So as we grow our book of business, right, there's always things that are changing in our business. So some of the things that we look to our carrier partners for is service, right? The bigger our book gets, and the success that we have selling is going to, drive other things, right? Servicing in-force accounts. And I think you folks have a pretty good mousetrap there for us. We'll talk a little bit about, service-wise, where you are today and where you're going in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, your service team is directly plugged into UnitedHealthcare through our GA service model. Right. We've also started developing APIs to increase operational efficiencies between the organization. We're deploying a new distribution model to better support you on the sales side and retention side with an AE, an account executive, and a renewal account executive that's going to be dedicated to Amwins to help you write new business and renew. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. And that'll apply to both the inside sales folks on your team, Sarah, and your field folks on your side.
It's my team that will be supporting.
Yeah. Your team will do that whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great.
Yep. So we're excited about the changes because we really want to make sure that we've got consistent messages and consistent experiences for everybody on the Amwins team, and of course the brokers that you all support. And we find that we've decided and found that having one person on the new business side and one person on the retention side will really help us all sort of be able to have the same experience. And I do think that's important.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's unique as well in the marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. Back to the innovation that we talked about earlier. That stuff matters to folks like us, right? When we're out in the field and we're talking to brokers, what are those value props that we could talk about that we bring to the table in addition to our partner at UHC? And I think that those are the types of things that are going to help to drive our success, moving forward. UnitedHealthcare and Amwins has a relationship nationally. One of the things I think our organizations have in common is our commitment to our communities, right? Here in the Mid-Atlantic, all over the country, actually. The things that Amwins does in our local community are a lot of the things I would imagine that you folks at UnitedHealthcare do and does, regularly. Can you talk about that a little bit? I know it's important to you folks as an organization.
Yeah, as a company in 2022, we donated over $100 million to national and local charities. A lot of that goes to local food banks to help them improve refrigeration bring healthier options to the people who go to them for support. If we were to get even more local, we donated $500,000 last year in the Mid-Atlantic alone.
Wow.
To support various local charities. Additionally, the team has done a phenomenal job. We have over 3,000 employees in the Mid-Atlantic, and they've logged over 42,000 hours of community service. Supporting group business, we have 89 employees in the health plan, and about 30 of them sit on about like 40 to 45 boards.
Wow.
So we're very, very involved locally despite being a national company.
Right. So we spent a lot of time here talking about the health plan. There's a whole other side of UnitedHealthcare that we're all well aware of, and that's the UnitedHealthcare specialty side, the ancillary lines, as we call them in the field, life, disability lines, dental. Let's talk about that a little bit. Are there bundling discounts? Are there things that happen when the health plan and the specialty side of the house come together? And does that happen both with your field reps, Mike, and with your inside team?
Well, one of the things I think it's really important to point out with UnitedHealthcare is not, again, having the medical side, because we actually take a medical lens to all of our specialty or ancillary lines of business. For example, you can actually diagnose, I think it's about 18 different diseases by looking at someone's gums. You can actually only see, the only non-invasive way to see veins is through an eye exam.
Right.
So we take a lot of that information when we've got those lines of business and that member, and if we do see something that is, a red flag, we actually will do a medical reach out. So we take a holistic approach, and I think that's something very different. UnitedHealthcare, again, is a fundamentally wanting to help people live healthier lives. That's one of the innovation things that we have that most other carriers do not have. So I do think that's a huge differentiator for us. And then, of course, there's the huge advantage of just being able to have everything in one place. When you have both medical, dental, financial protection, which would be life, disability, all in one place, you can actually access it not only obviously through all the administration that Amwins does, but actually on our myUHC app. So it actually makes it very easy for the member to sort of access all their different benefits in one place. And that is a very big difference that UnitedHealthcare has compared to some of our other competitors.
The app, right? Everybody has their phones.
And I do think that's an important distinction, because not everybody has a computer, but pretty much everybody has a smartphone app. Worst case scenario, they have access to a library where they can go and use a computer there, or a school. I do think having smartphone apps is so, an ability to search, pull up temp ID cards, do all that kind of stuff on a phone is very, very important, because it does make it easier on the member to be able to access everything in one place.
You talked about a temp ID card. I think that's a really important one on a new piece of business. Brokers are asking for temp ID cards on the effective date. What other technology that is based on a cell phone, does UnitedHealthcare make use of? And does it work do those apps, if you will, work both in the fully insured world and the level funded world?
One of the things that we have been able to do is really push our green initiatives when it comes to smartphone apps and the internet.
Okay.
One of the things we do not do any longer, unless it's requested, is do dental ID cards. UnitedHealthcare has never had vision ID cards, but they're all accessible on the app, because we are really trying to walk the walk. And we talk about green initiatives, we need to actually do it ourselves.
Right.
And I do think that's really important, because UnitedHealthcare actually wants to be a sustainable company, wants to go carbon neutral, and we really want to be able to not only help people live healthier lives, but also try to do that in an environmental standpoint as well.
Our app also brings different provider capabilities to people, especially as you get into more rural areas. You think about virtual visits. Our recent acquisition of Able2 and Sanvelo. Able2 is a mental health app. Okay. Sanvelo is a mindfulness app. One of the benefits of being UnitedHealthcare is we can take those two and merge them together into a single benefit for our membership. So through the myUHC app, they're able to access virtual care providers for just about anything. Wow. But more importantly, they're able to access completely anonymous and confidential mental health services.
Got it.
From the comfort of their home.
A lot of the talk in all of our worlds is network. So on the specialty side, what's UHC's network like here in the Mid-Atlantic on vision and dental? Like, we don't get into those weeds all that often, but I'm sure there's something there that a broker would want to know and need to know about.
UnitedHealthcare's dental and vision is pretty unique in the market in the fact that we, for example, on our dental, we have one of the largest national networks. Again, you can access both network and non-network dentists. So you actually have access all throughout the United States if you want to.
Right.
That's, of course, a huge differentiator with UnitedHealthcare in general, is that when, if you are in most plans that we offer, whether or not you're here in the Mid-Atlantic or vacationing in California, you can access the same benefits. One of the biggest difference between UnitedHealthcare's Vision Network and some of our competitors is we actually have both a very healthy mix of private practice and retailers. The same plan can be used for the CEO and for the hourly worker, because there's some people who can only go to Walmart on the weekends.
Right.
They have access to vision providers through that space, or they want to go to the private practice that they've been going to their whole entire life and maybe have those really fancy frames. That's also something that's very different than UnitedHealthcare has. The highest earner and the lowest earner, they all can have access to the same benefits. Just depends on what's best for their lifestyle. Same goes for kind of what Mike said, whether you're in a rural setting or if you're in a urban setting, you can actually have access to the same amount of benefits.
Thinking about our businesses and technology, and we were talking about the cell phone thing. Things that we're seeing in the market are benefit administration systems. So a Ben admin system like a bSwift or an employee navigator or Ease, for example. As clients utilize those systems more and more, and they have different carriers or different products that reside on those systems, what we have noticed in market is that those Ben admin systems used to be involved in groups of 200 lives and up, and we're really seeing that drive down market with these vendors. What's your position on taking feeds and things like that from Ben admin systems on large groups, small group, specialty even?
We're always exploring partnerships in that area. One that recently emerged is the Employee Navigator partnership. About 6 months ago, we announced a live EDI file from Employee Navigator. So when an eligibility change happens, the employer directs their employee to the Employee Navigator interface, and they enter the eligibility change there. It's directly fed over to UnitedHealthcare. So it eliminates inconsistencies in what the employee enrolled for and what makes it to UnitedHealthcare.
Right.
Because as you know, it used to be that you have to go and download the file, make sure it transfers over to the UHC system,
right,
and then you're relying on multiple touch points for accuracy. By establishing that EDI connectivity, we've removed that multiple touch points and we get the information directly from the consumer.
Right. And at that point, I can't hit submit until all my information is there, right? So
correct.
That employee self-service component takes that whole error messaging out of it. Are you seeing it come down market as well?
We are. We see it come down pretty much down to enrolled if the broker will build out the platform.
So that's available today in market here in the Mid-Atlantic?
Correct.
And is that the same on the specialty side? I don't know, Sarah, I'm sort of looking to you since you were talking more about the specialty side of the house or not. Do they take feeds out of Ben admin systems on that side of the house too?
Yes, we do. UnitedHealthcare's goal is always to be able to a holistic carrier to our members and our clients. So yeah, we always try to do everything from both a medical and a specialty standpoint.
Right. And is that set up already on that global EDI that you were alluding to?
It is.
Say with a navigator?
Yep. And one of the other things that's really nice about that Employee Navigator partnership is historically brokers have spent a lot of time building out or hiring a company to build out the platform.
Actual site, yeah.
Right, and that takes time. So one of the things that we've done is we've invested in APIs that you will be able to click a button and it'll build out all the UnitedHealthcare products for you in the site.
Oh, wow.
Greatly reducing the time you spend.
To actually build it in the site to get it implemented on the case.
Yep.
Oh, that's really good. As our sales folks at Amwins Connect are out in the field, they're always looking for things to talk to brokers about. And one of the things that I think brings people into our business is the ability to make a good living. So while we're out talking to our brokers, money comes up. What kind of money can a broker expect to make by writing business with UHC here in market?
Yeah, so on the fully insured side, everybody's paid a commission that's set at the beginning of the year. On the level funded side, the broker gets to negotiate that with the client. So they get to negotiate that before the rates are quoted. They submit it in the quote, and the good news about the level funded product is that commission's flat going into year 2, 3, 4, 5, and beyond.
So non-reduced.
Correct.
And it's negotiable. That's unique, right?
It's very unique,
in the
yeah.
Affordable Care Act space, it's a canned PEPM or percentage of premium across
Yep,
the
it's
nation.
filed at the beginning of the year, as
There
you
you go.
mentioned.
There you
Yep.
go. As brokers write business and they build their books and they get used to and they get comfortable, one of the things that we would like to talk to them about is, hey, if you get to a certain threshold, is there a bonus program or incentives? What can a broker expect when they do business with UHC?
UnitedHealthcare does a quarterly medical bonus, so we actually reward our agents on a quarterly basis. First thing you have to do is hit a threshold. Standardly in the Mid-Atlantic, it does vary by markets, but it's 150 subscribers, so that's of course the employees. And once you get to that threshold, then will reward you on a scaled basis, on a per PEPM basis.
Okay.
One of the things you do have to always be is growing with UnitedHealthcare. We pay on a net growth basis.
Okay.
And we also give you an additional kicker when it comes to specialty. Again, as UnitedHealthcare, we really want to have you look as a holistic approach to the broker's solution for their clients. So we actually will pay you quarterly on the medical, but then also give you an additional boost for adding specialty lines with us. So we actually have very different ways. So, and some of those monies can become very, very large. But on the flip side, let's say you have a bad year or something happens, you have negative net growth. The great thing about it is the next quarter you're back to, you're basically square one again. So it's really nice to be able to have that flexibility, and it's not like it's all in, all out, which I know some of the other carriers, it can be a little daunting because, it's kind of your make or break.
Right.
Our quarterly medical bonus adds a little more flexibility because like anything, things are cyclical, and sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't.
Sure. We work with lots of shops that have multiple producers. How does that bonus program work if you've got a ABC agency that has 5 producers? Is it tracked by the agency or is it tracked by the individual producer?
It's tracked by the agency.
It is. That's great. So that the agency can make use of those dollars
Yes.
as well. So as we talk about everything that's happening in market, there's a sense of, or there's some word on the street, if you will, that UHC is making doing business together easier.
Yeah, the longstanding feedback has been where we can be overly complicated in the 2 to 50 space.
It's not an easy business.
I think at one point we had over 432 plans in the small group space in the Mid-Atlantic alone. So what we've done is we've worked very closely with product and actuarial to reduce our footprint from 452 plans down to about 127 across the Mid-Atlantic. And of course, those are market specific, right? Maryland's different from Virginia, is different from DC and West Virginia.
Yep.
But we're also doing things to streamline the broker experience as well as your experience as general agent.
Right. It's helpful all along the way, right? As we think about our businesses growing together, one of the cool things and unique things about the Mid-Atlantic is that Amwins Connect acts as a TPA. For a lot of that business that we're doing together, what's your sense as the carrier in working with us as a TPA that's advantageous to the broker?
I think what brokers need to understand is how efficient you guys operate, or efficiently you guys operate behind the scenes. So it's critically important that any eligibility change, any plan design change, just any change in general runs through Amwins as the TPA, since you guys handle the billing and eligibility. Without the eligibility or those additional changes, there's no way you guys can bill correctly.
That's right.
Right? So it's critically important that they utilize the correct channels for those changes to maintain the billing integrity.
It's all about communication, right? Educating the broker and the client about how to make your plan work and run smoothly every day, day in and day out.
That's right.
And that's what our partnership's about.
Yep.
Making it easy. I can't thank you enough for coming and spending some time with us today, Sarah, Michael. I think our long-term growth here in the Mid-Atlantic region is something that we're keenly aware of. We want to work together and continue that, moving the ball downfield kind of thing. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you all very much for joining us today for another episode of Coffee with Carriers. I'm Tim Falanga from Amwins Connect. Thank you very much and have a great day.